Cole Johnson here. Cole Sports is on the way, and we're going to talk about the wonderful prize project for Memphis. Not playing there anymore. Well, of course, we're going to award the Dolt of the Week. We're going to put a subject worthy to be put on upon further review, and of course, we're going to hit the hard stuff. Come on with us. Let's go.
Welcome to Cole Sports. You have entered the zone called sports on another level. And now, here's your host, Cole Johnson.
Cole Sports! Well, thank you so much, Spike. You know the show. Let's go to the headlines. And we're going to start in New York. Former NBA Commissioner David Stern, he remains in serious condition following an emergency surgery that he suffered from a brain hemorrhage this past Thursday. He's 77. He stepped aside as commissioner 5 years ago, but he's remained active working with venture capitalists and, of course, remaining close to the NBA, possibly being counsel to the new commissioner, or I should say 5-year commissioner, Adam Silver. The NBA had this statement to say about Mr. Stern. Quote, "He is receiving great care and surrounded by his loved ones. The Stern family and everyone in the NBA appreciate the incredible outpouring of support. Our thoughts and prayers remain with David and his family." Close quote. And here at Cole Sports, we echo those same sentiments. Speedy recovery and many more years to watch the product that you have put forth and made an international sensation. Turning our attention up the way to the Bronx, or somewhere, Babe Ruth, his 500th home run bat, was sold this week. Yes, it was auctioned off for more than $1 million. Now, Ruth hit his 500th homer on August 11, 1929 against the Indians, and the bat was autographed to his friend, Mayor Jim Rice, in the 40s, and it remained in the family nearly 75 years. Now, 500 homers. Ruth, of course, went on to hit 714. Ruth was the first of 27 major leaguers that have done it thus far to reach the mark of 500 homers. Let's head to Milwaukee. LeBron James had 21 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. Anthony Davis chipped in with 36 points and 10 rebounds. It just was not enough in their titanic tilt in Fiserv Stadium in Milwaukee as the Bucks beat the Lakers 111 to 104. And of course, it was buoyed by Giannis Antetokounmpo's 34 points, 11 rebounds. And amongst those 34 points, 5 3-pointers were made by him. And it paced the Bucks to beat the Lakers in the showdown of the NBA's top two teams. The reigning MVP had this to say about his outpouring. Quote, "I wasn't the number one pick. AD was. LeBron was. I wasn't supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to go up against these two beasts. So I'm just happy that I'm here and happy that I'm going through the process, and I always want to be better, do better for my team, and that's what gives me joy." Close quote. Well, big fella, you keep doing that. It's going to give us a lot of joy too in watching you do your thing. Out west to Salt Lake City. Now, you remember earlier this year, there was a confrontation between then Thunder, now Rockets point guard Russell Westbrook and a fan there. And you heard Westbrook put forth and spew an expletive latent tirade. You'll catch that episode on Cole Sports. I will have that link in the show notes. Well, The fan that was banned by the Jazz and the Vivint Smart Home Arena, Shane Keisel, is suing. He's suing the Jazz and he's suing Westbrook for $100 million. Now, Keisel claims that he did not say anything injurious toward Westbrook, that Westbrook just went hackneyed off him for no apparent reason. Keisel still to this day claims he was wrongfully accused. And the Jazz, being put in this suit, says they're going to vigorously contest the suit. According to the Salt Lake Tribune, the according to the Salt Lake Tribune, the lawsuit states as follows. Quote, Mr. Keisel's heckling was of the same kind and caliber as that of other audience members in the section. Close quote. Going east or west or both, the Dodgers and Red Sox are discussing Mookie Betts to be traded from the Red Sox to the Dodgers. Now, the reason and rationale that this is possible is the Red Sox is looking to dump salary. Well, let's just be completely blunt. And of course, the Dodgers are looking for any way possible to keep up with the Joneses, or I should say, the Yankees, and the Astros, and now the Nationals. Along with this, Corey Seager, the shortstop of the Dodgers, are also in talks with this trade, and it may include Cleveland along with the other two teams. Now, Betts won the American League MVP in 2018 with a .346 batting average with 32 homers and 30 steals. Of course, they went on to win the World Series that year. Betts is looking to earn between $27 and $30 million in his final year, which of course is next year. And the Red Sox, they have the highest payroll at $244 million. They will have to pay $13 million in luxury tax penalties. They want to slash that to about $208 million for next year. The price you pay for being a good player in a salary cap strapped league. And now, from the sublime to the ridiculous. You know those wonderful stadiums that we're seeing that they're popping up out of, well, I won't say thin air, but just popping up, SoFi Stadium out in LA. Stadiums like M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. Stadiums like the future Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. We see those stadiums have been built on what is called, quote, opportunity zones, close quote. Now, see, these locations are classified as such based on the federal government's requirement that banks allot a portion of their money to programs or investments that benefit people in poor neighborhoods. And the President Donald Trump is actually signing off on this. Now, here's where I have an issue. You looked at all these stadiums, right? Look at M&T Bank Stadium. Look at what they're doing in SoFi Field, in SoFi Stadium, Hollywood Park, basically, because the stadium is just a part of the 300 acres that they're going to be building on. Look at the future Allegiant Stadium. And heck, we don't even have to look at those stadiums. CenturyLink in Seattle, Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. All of these stadiums that are being built. And let's go to the one that's been built in Arlington, Texas. AT&T Stadium. These stadiums are now running almost, if not over, $1 billion to build. So, if these are opportunity zones to improve places for the poor, why would it cost so much to build these stadiums? And then, most of these stadiums, SoFi I think is one of the rare exceptions where this is not the case, the owners ask for public funding in order to build them. So I don't get the correlation of them things that help out poor or disenfranchised or disadvantageous areas. Unless you're saying that these areas are eyesores and this helps the eyesore out, then yeah, if that is what you're saying, shame on you. Because those stadiums don't help out these neighborhoods. It only will, how can I say this? It's like spraying cologne on feces. Because that's basically what it is. And we're going to Memphis. The prized possession of Memphis for this year, James Wiseman, who has been the object of the NCAA, has withdrawn from the University of Memphis, and now he has proclaimed to be preparing for the NBA draft next June. The 7'1" talent was part of being suspended for being ineligible because it stemmed from a payment of $11,500 to Wiseman's mother, Donza Lee Artist. Now, the coach of the basketball team, men's basketball team, Penny Hardaway, was the one who paid his mother that much. And it was done 2 years ago for moving expenses. Now, you're probably saying, well, Wiseman wasn't a member of the team and he wasn't a student at the school. What gives? Here's what gives. Because Hardaway is considered a booster because he donates $1 million to the school. He's donated $1 million to the school's athletic department back in 2008. He is prohibited from providing financial assistance to prospective student athletes and or their families. That's according to the NCAA bylaws. Well, according to the bylaws of life, that is a joke. This young man who did not earn a suspension of any sort, he didn't run afoul of the law, he didn't break any team rules, he gets slapped on the wrist because of a good gesture by the coach of a team? NCAA, you should be ashamed of yourself. And for you, James, I'm so sorry that you didn't get a chance to experience some of the college life that you should experience. And unfortunately, you had to come to this decision, and you made the right one. I'm just so sorry that there are stuffed suits in Indianapolis who seem to not know what kindness and goodness and human decency is. They just stuck on their rules, and it doesn't matter. Shame on you, NCAA. You're horrible. Later, we're going to talk about somebody in Dolt of the Week. We're going to touch on Michael Vick and upon further review, but immediately following the break, we're going to talk about Drew Brees. 504 gets 540. What do I mean? I'm gonna go. If the pain that you're suffering is so unbearable, so painful, so bad, so horrendous that you just simply can't see the forest for the trees, literally, that all you can feel is heartbreak and loss, well, I have a free audio for you. It is titled How to Heal from Heartbreak. Let it all come to you so you can be about the business of healing. Today is a new day. Claim it at getoverddivorce.org. So glad you joined me. Thank you so much. So this past Monday night, history was made. The Saints quarterback, Drew Brees, all 6 foot of him. 6 foot and a quarter. Decided to make a little bit of history. And he made history twice. And we're going to talk about both reasons as to how he made history as I go And now, without further ado, Cole Sports proudly presents to you Champions Personified. Yeah, I know. This is something I normally do toward the end of the show, but I have to do it here because the subject matter that I have later it's a little more important for me to go into it then, but I still have to give the roses on this episode now, and I might as well do it here. Drew Brees, the 19-year veteran, the man who has made New Orleans the happiest city in the world, because forever and a day they can say now that they are Super Bowl champions due to him, just made his legend even bigger down the Crescent City. So Monday night, the Saints hosted in the Superdome the Indianapolis Colts, and he needed a couple of touchdowns to break the mark of 539 touchdown passes for a career set by Peyton Manning. Soon to be Hall of Famer Peyton Manning. It's not quite there yet. He will get there. So Brees looked as though he broke the record. He tied it in the first quarter. Looked like he broke it in the second quarter with a touchdown pass to Michael Thomas. But a holding penalty negated all of that. So in the next possession, he threw a touchdown pass, and the celebration was on. Along with that, Brees also set a single game completion percentage record with a minimum of 20 attempts by going 29 of 30. Now, during the game, he threw for 307 yards and had 4 touchdowns in the game. 29 of 30. For those math majors, that equals out to 96%. That the 30 passes he threw, 96% of them were complete. It just shows how remarkable he is. Drew, as humble as he's always been, and he still is humble in this instance as well, he had this to say post-game. Quote, "It was special, everything about the night. I don't know how they pick them, right? I mean, Monday Night Football, playing the Colts, the team we won the Super Bowl against 10 years ago. So the whole Super Bowl 44 team is back for the 10th anniversary, and obviously national television, big game, and now that record in the balance as well. Just kind of makes you shake your head. Are you kidding me? I'm not sure how we got here. It just makes your whole life and career flash before your eyes, because I never thought I would have the chance to be a part of something like this." Close quote. No, I'm sorry. Brees set the record by throwing a 5-yard touchdown pass to tight end Josh Hill in the third quarter. And as I said, the aforementioned Michael Thomas, he received a touchdown pass in the game, along with Traquan Smith in the third quarter as well. And as I said before, Thomas was the guy who he set the history with, but it got penalized. No, it was actually to Smith. The pass to Smith was ruled a touchdown, but it was a penalty on the play that negated it. Now, for those who were thinking that this stat might last, well, he had to pass Brady along with Peyton Manning, to just set the mark in that game. So, of course, since Brady is still playing, Brees will have to hold him off a bit. There's a lot of people who want to down Brees. They want to say, well, he's played most of his career in a dome stadium. He throws the ball a whole lot more than Peyton did. All of that is true, but why does it matter? Because Brees was a success in an outdoor stadium for years. He played for the San Diego Chargers, not Los Angeles. He played for the Chargers for a few years and actually was a division champion with them. So it's not that Brees didn't know how to play the game and then all of a sudden he just became this omnipresent, all-knowing quarterback in New Orleans. He had this game in him. It's not necessarily the stadium. It's the person. Even though Brees did well in San Diego, he wasn't doing all he could do. So it's not necessarily where he plays in terms of elements. It's where he plays in terms of personnel, because he found a kinship and, quite frankly, a brotherhood with the coach of the team, Sean Payton. And it's similar to the synergy that Mike Shanahan, the coach of the Broncos a few decades ago, was when he coached John Elway at the tail end of his career. The two just had they had a synergy together. It was as if they were operating on one brain. And it is no coincidence. And Elway went to Super Bowls before his relationship with Shanahan. But those two men did not achieve nearly the same amount of success away from one another as they did together. I mean, it was as if Elway had the freedom to suggest to Shanahan what plays to run at certain times. And Shanahan never pushed onto Elway, but he would get his input on things before they would decide on what way they were going to go about things. But both had the same type of mentality. We're out here on this field. We need to score points. We need to make things easy on the defense. And we need to put the opposing team out of their misery before we get into the locker room for halftime. That was their mentality. And most times they were successful together when they did that. It's the same synergy that is between Peyton and Brees. Peyton knows where his bread is buttered, and so does Brees. Why do you think they have been together for 14 years? It's simply because they know each other well. It is like the two of them are brothers. Sean has the we gotta attack at all costs mentality. Attack, attack, attack. That is how he thinks. That's how he devises his offenses. They need to put the foot on the gas at all times. And what Brees does to help out Peyton is Brees has that mentality of attack, attack, attack too, but he is exact. He is perfect in how he wants to execute. He wants all I's dotted, all T's crossed. And he brings that level of excellence to the level of genius that Peyton has. You combine the two there and you have a Super Bowl ring between the two. And the same thing can be said about the Brees-Peyton pairing as with the Shanahan-Elway pairing. The two have been successful elsewhere, but they won't be nearly as successful as they are together. Both of them know this. Both of them love this. And both of them have had a wonderful career because of the other. Peyton saw things in Brees that, quite frankly, none of us really did in 2006. Peyton saw that Brees could do what he has done the 14 years after he got Brees to sign on the dotted line as a free agent. He saw this. Peyton saw this. Brees hoped that Peyton could see this, and Brees was right. Peyton did see it. And all Peyton really did was put Brees in a position to succeed on his terms. And all Brees has done in regards to Peyton is allow Peyton to be the offensive genius that he is. And when you have that synergy, it's absolutely perfect. So do I think that Brees is the greatest quarterback of all time? No. He's not even the greatest quarterback I've seen in this era. But what I will say is this: 6 feet tall, he's the most mechanically sound quarterback I have ever seen. And I have seen many mechanically sound quarterbacks. But Brees is the most mechanically sound QB I have ever laid eyes on. Foot placement, pocket presence, how he scrambles, when he scrambles, when he throws, how he throws, where he throws, the type of passes he throws. I have seen very few QBs who come close to exacting that type of excellence that Brees has. But Brees possesses it in full, and I'm happy to say this man is one of the greatest to ever do it. And if you don't believe me, as of this recording, 541 touchdowns, close to 75,000 yards. Name me a quarterback who has done both of those numbers. I'll wait. 100 years of quarterbacks. Bring the name to me. Bring the names to me. What other quarterbacks have thrown for over 540 touchdowns and thrown for close to 75,000 yards in a career? How about 74? How about 73? You might get a bite at 72. But bring me the name that has done those numbers. I'll wait. And that's why this man is a champion. Drew, you were first ballot Hall of Famer, period. I look forward to your induction speech when it happens. But if you got more in your tank, I'm looking forward to seeing how you're going to play even beyond now. Because you are one of the greatest to have ever done it. From the sublime to the ridiculous, when I come back, the dolt of the week. You've tuned into the classiest sports show on the planet. Cole Sport! From the vault, a look back at a key moment in sports history. December 21st, 1997. It was one of those special days in Detroit where they knew they were on the cusp of history. In the backfield was number 20, Barry Sanders. He was on the brink of being the third running back ever to gain 2,000 yards in a season. And in Barry Sanders fashion, he got it on a simple 1-yard draw. And then he showed us all with the next play why he is so special. Only O.J. Simpson in 1973 and Eric Dickerson in 1984 were the backs to eclipse the 2,000-yard mark in a season. Sanders finished that year with 2,053 yards. That record has only been eclipsed once. But in the eyes of Detroiters, Barry Sanders is one of the most special athletes to ever don a uniform, not just for that city, but for any sport. Hall of Famer Barry Sanders breaks the 2,000-yard barrier in a season on this date in 1997. From the vault, brought to you by Cole Sport. Hey, you want to write? You're a blogger. Do you feel the need that you can express yourself, but you want to do so through manuscript? Or are you a journalist? Well, come on down to the Breaks Media. We are looking for bloggers just like you. And it doesn't matter what field in which you want to write in. We want to see you and your words put on paper. Well, put on virtual paper. Just go on to thebreaksmedianetwork.com or email thebreaksmedia@gmail.com, and we will be glad to receive your request and put you on the fast track to have your words be read by thousands of people. The Breaks Media, we're looking for writers just like you. Johnson's here. I'm glad that you have returned. Thank you so much for your patronage, your support, your love, your outpouring. I'm so glad that you're here, and I do not take you, your ears, nor your mind or heart or passion for granted. Cole Sports is here, bringing you the best in sports news of the entire week, and we're going to get right into it. The Don't of the Week. The week is sponsored by nobody, but we're still going to give it to you straight with no chaser. The winner of this episode's Dolt of the Week is Miami Heat's Dion Waiters. Now, he has been suspended this year again without pay. And this time he got suspended. Why? It was cited that he failed to adhere to team policies, violation of team rules, and continued insubordination. Now, supposedly, Waiters was sick, and he was ruled out of the past Friday's game against the Lakers due to illness. And Waiters has been sick for several days, but it's clear that the relationship between him and the Heat is strained. And he's not due to return until Monday night's tilt against the Jazz. Now, in salary, because of the 2 previous suspensions this year, he's already lost close to $1 million. He's come close to doing that. Now, the two suspensions it was a 1-game suspension to start the year after he complained about his role in the preseason. Then they tacked on a 10-game suspension after an incident on the plane where a person with knowledge of the matter said he ingested at least one cannabis-infused edible and had a reaction that required medical attention. Now, Waiters has not made more than 46 appearances in a game for a whole season in his career, or at least since coming to the Heat. He's only played in 120 games for them, missing many of them because of ankle injuries and surgery on his foot and ankle, along with doing stupid stuff like swallowing cannabis-infused edibles. Son. Let me break it down to you. There's many people who want to be where you are. There's many people who want to take that wonderful round ball and bounce it on the deck. There's many of us who would want to earn what you have forfeited earlier in this year. I being one of them, I would love to have $1 million that I could make in a 2-month span. You blow it off because you're being ridiculous. You're not the best player on the team. You probably have a hard time being the second best player. But the Heat are doing good. That your team is kicking behind. Why would you want to blow that opportunity? You got a chance to run with a good team, man. This is a good team. And you're blowing your opportunity because you aren't the man, or you're not the man sitting next to the man. So what? So what? You have a team that can compete for the Eastern Conference Championship. Now, I'm not saying you're going to win it. No, but you got a team that can compete for it. Roll with it. Dion, don't blow this chance, man. Please, I'm begging you. And I'm not saying this to be comedic. I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm not saying this to be humorous. I'm saying this to be serious. Please don't blow this opportunity, Dion. Please, man. The Heat needs you. But they need you to be sober-minded. They need you to be sober-hearted. They need you to be invested in the team, but you're acting as though you're not. You're acting as if you could give a crap about how the team functions, whether they win or lose, whether they're with you or not. You're important, Dion. Your presence is important to the team. Man. Come on, man. You gotta pull out of this. Please pull out of this. For me. I don't want you to ruin your career. But you're on the path to doing so because you're not being a team player in many different facets. Be the team player that the Heat needs you to be. And maybe you won't have the issues of being suspended for so much and so often. It's time to have a family chat. Upon further review is next.
Perfect.
Coming up on the next installment of Cold Sports, we're going to do a special edition Yes, special edition. We're not going to do a regular show. We're going to do a show that talks about a history-making event. The Minnesota Vikings, the Dallas Cowboys, Metropolitan Stadium. A play that decided the game and the play that defined a game, a pass, and the destinies of two teams. That was then, will be next week's edition of Cold Sports, and it will highlight the Hail Mary game. Come on and tune in. We love to hear what you have to say. That's for next week. For this week, I said we're going to have a family discussion. It's time that we have to get serious. And there's been some petitions from people online saying that Michael Vick should not be a captain of a Pro Bowl team. Why is this bothersome to me? I'm about to put that subject upon further review. Hundreds of thousands have protested the NFL to not have Michael Vick be honored during the Pro Bowl festivities on January 26th in Orlando. And why is that? Well, it's because Mr. Vick was convicted for funding a dogfighting. He served time in jail. He got out. And because he did this thing, people hold him to. Now, before I really get into why I want to address this, I'm going to say it plainly. You all can understand this in a way that you all can ever say that there is unequivocal doubt about where I stand. Do I think dogfighting is heinous? Yes. Do I think what Michael Vick did was? Yes. Do I know that Michael Vick had a hand in killing dogs? Indirectly, yes. Directly, no. He did not. Was I in favor of him being in jail for it? Yes. Am I angry about that? Yes. I'm angry about it in two different ways. I'm angry about it with him, but I've already resolved that anger about that with him. And I'm angry about it in terms of how the judicial system does not do this with just other dog fighting. That with the normal dog fighting charge, it's a fine. It's not punishable by jail. So I'm angry at Vick for getting in that situation. And I'm angry at the judicial system for not having something that's more punitive than just a fine. Oh, and here's also another thing that people miss. I'm angry about it with Vick, not just because he funded Bad News Kennels, but he lied on oath. He lied under oath that he did not have any doing with it when it turned out that he. So yes, I think dogfighting is heinous. Yes, killing dogs is horrible. Yes, I do think that people need to be punished for just doing those types of heinous, evil things to dogs. And it is evil. It's evil. It's absolutely evil. I love dogs. I don't own one personally, but I love dogs. And I don't want any of them to be hurt. It hurts my soul when I see one which is hurt. Now, Michael Vick, the quarterback of the Falcons, and then later the Eagles, the Jets, and the Steelers. He was found guilty of perjury and of being a dog fighter, and he was locked up in federal prison for close to 18 months in Leavenworth, Kansas. So all of this happened in 2007. He was locked up in 2008. He got out right before training camp in 2009. And I remember people protested a block long about the Eagles hiring Vick. And then Vick goes on. He learns under Andy Reid, the coach then at the time of Donovan McNabb, the quarterback. He learned that year under him, and then in 2010, Vick took over, and he close to winning, and in my opinion, having the best season. Now, he's since then retired. He retired to that. He now was an analyst for Fox Sports. And so now he's getting honored. And why is he getting honored? You see all these quarterbacks that's out today? Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, and Lamar Jackson. All of those guys I have heard Vick's name evoked in conversation in regards to all of those gentlemen. Now, in my opinion, many people will say that Vick is a Hall of Famer. He's not Hall of Fame worthy simply because he was a transit figure, but he didn't have the stats that would make you say, oh yeah, this guy needs to be. Now, he paved the way for others who will be in that similar style, but he's not worthy. Now, that'll anger some people. Care of it. Now, Michael Vick, the person, he had his day in court. He served his time. The pound of flesh was done by the government. He's out. He has served his time. He has paid his debt to society, and he has redeemed himself in the 11 years after. So why is it that people seem to have an unforgiveness about? Why is it that people feel the need, unction, the urge to say that Michael Vick is a piece of, saying that Michael Vick needs to have the pound of flesh physically taken from him? That people seem to say that they need to have Michael Vick be as savagely beaten down and if not killed, just like the dogs that he killed. And I will say again, he did not have a physical hand in that. He had a financial one, but not a physical. That is absolutely sick. And it's not Christian. And I could point to a couple of people where that's been the case. One is Paul, the Apostle Paul. He was Saul before that, and he wanted to persecute Christians before he had an encounter with God on the road to Damascus, and then his life changed, his verbiage changed, and his countenance changed. And the guy who originally killed Christians is now rewarded with, if not one of the biggest apostles that we've ever had to Christ, because people have not led as many people to Christ as Paul did. And he was killing them right and left, but Jesus didn't see that. He saw a guy who when the right information was put in him, he changed. And when he repented from those old ways and changed, the beauty of Paul reigned supreme. Now, did he still pay his price? Yes, because he got jailed for being a murderer. But even in that, Paul was at peace. He knew, I'm like, yeah, I committed some crimes. But you know what? Even in jail, because I know what the goodness of God looks like. I know what the grace of Jesus looks like. I'm not saying that Michael Vick is like Paul, the apostle in the Bible. I'm saying that Vick has had similar type of counsel after prison. So I responded to a few people who were adamant about this petition. And I plainly said, well, you already have a pound of flesh from him. What more do you? And some actually said to me, no, we want a physical pound of flesh to be taken. He's a piece of crap. And I'm being kind when I say that. They were saying to me that he did deserve to have this honor. Well, when it comes to life, deserves has nothing to do with it. If you live life in the way that Christ wants you to live it, you're going to make mistakes in life. It's a matter of bouncing back from that mistake, learning how to truly live life under Christ, and you go forward that way. That's what it's about. Not about holding someone at their zenith point of iniquity. Not holding them at the point where they were at their most sinful. Not holding them at the point to where they were so far away from God that you only see the stench of the devil, even if they were to clean themselves up outwardly and inward. So I remember there was this picture during this same response, this thread that I responded to at a news station. And it was a picture of a dog having a Michael Vick doll in his teeth. And the dog is gnawing at Vick's. The picture on the avatar of the person who sent the picture was blonde, in her 20s, and white. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm thinking or putting forward to you all white people think this way. I know all white people don't, because there's some black people who are with this woman. No, I'm not dealing with the color of the person. I'm dealing with the temperament, the heart of, because that speaks to unforgiveness. That speaks to unforgiveness. That speaks to you're through with them before you learn what to do with them, because they did a bad thing and you can't deal with the bad thing they did. However, if you were in the same spot as Michael Vick was back in 2007, if you were to fast forward your life 12 years later, I guarantee you would want to have the grace be extended to you that Michael Vick has gotten in certain circles, because God knows your heart and so do you. And you're not the sum of your mistakes. That you shouldn't be judged by one heinous thing and act that you've done, or even a few of them. That you deserve to be forgiven. Quite frankly, you don't deserve to be forgiven. None of us do. But you know what? Thanks to God through his Savior and my Savior Jesus. Thanks to God through his Son and my Savior Jesus, I am. And you are. And that's where the issue and the problem comes. You all will go absolutely crazy over this guy who supposedly does not deserve to be honored, does not deserve to be looked upon as somebody that's an example. But you know what? He should. Why? Because there could be somebody who has done something as heinous as he did. Have a form like the NFL say, if you take care of your business, you reform, you redeem yourself, you learn your lesson, you turn from that behavior of the old way, and you actually become a practicing member of society like he is, because he works in tandem with with Humane Society. He works in tandem with PETA. He works in tandem with ASPCA. Then you could do the same thing as he can do, and you could be lauded for the things that he has done in turning us a life around like he has. But no, you don't want that. You want to say that he's a slug for what he did back in 2007. Well, let me tell you something, Unforgiveness fan. I'm so glad that I belong to a God who said the following: if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land. So before you address the speck in Michael's eye, address the plank in yours. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in this unforgiveness loop until people don't want to have anything to do with you, because they know that you're not real. They know that you're phony. And they know that you're inhuman, that you're inhumane. And that you're performing something that is devilish. Stop being full of unforgiveness. Now, if you like this episode or any other episode you've heard thus far, subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher, and other platforms on ColeSportsWithAZ.com. Now, if you want to have exclusive content only you VIP can have access to, well, the Patreon page is open. The button is there to click. ColeSportsWithAZ.com. Now, you have a question for me, for Cole, for the VIP extraordinaire, the main VIP. Well, say it with your chest. Press that button, record, speak, and then send it to me and I'll play it on air. You can find that at ColeSportsWithAZ.com. Now, if you want to reach me through email, you don't want to say it with your chest, but you want to write it, you can reach me. The email is at ColeSportsWithAZ.com. Click that button and write your email. I'll get it, and I will read that email on air. Now, if you want to hear this voice on commercials, please send that inquiry to ColeSportsWithAZ.com. Now, you have sports takes, you're passionate, you feel the need to get it off your chest, but you want to be in a place where people respect your opinion and they respect you and they won't go sideways in calling you on something or talking about your family or anything like that. Cole Sports VIP room is right here. We got it for you. The Facebook Sports room can be accessed through ColeSportsWithAZ.com. Now, if you want to hear how I get down on other interviews, the Intelligent Sportsman is there. That button is there to click. ColeSportsWithAZ.com is the place. Now, if you want to heal from heartbreak and loss, or if you want to hear how I get my Brian Gumble on and interview other people, well, that is all accessed at ColeSportsWithAZ.com. That's ColeSportsWithAZ.com. You can check out me and everything that I represent on ColeSportsWithAZ.com. And it doesn't matter where, when, and how you listen to me. All I want you to do is 1, 2, 3 simple things. love your neighbor as yourself, and love yourself with your whole heart, mind, and spirit. Tell a friend to tell a friend about this tell a friend to tell a friend about this particular program, and enjoy the content. For the Intelligent Sportsman, I am Cole Johnson, and this is Cole Sports.
You've been listening to Cole Sports with Cole Johnson.
Coming January 26th, 2020. The VIP Honor!